Hi, it's me, Gage, and welcome back to Blood Battle. I know it's been a while, but I got a really good fight for you today. It's Rick Taylor from Splatterhouse from 2010's remake versus Luther Strode from the comic franchise of the same name. Anyway, let's get on to Rick. When you look at Rick Taylor, you immediately think of a monster. He wasn't always like this, though. In fact, all of this happened in one day. It started out with him and his girlfriend Jennifer going to the West Side Mansion to meet a Dr. Henry West, a doctor who was going to do an interview with them on a Friday night. Rick went along because he was fearful that his girlfriend was going to leave him because, well, he thought that she was out of his league and was glad that he had her. We learned this through cut content with one of Rick's clones. But anyway, while they were there, Dr. Henry West attacked them. He gutted Rick, leaving him for dead, and took Jennifer, who reminded him of his wife, trying to get his wife back by sacrificing Jennifer. But as Rick laid there on the ground, bleeding out and dying from his intestines being spilled, he looked over and saw the terror mask, telling him to put him on, and if he did, they could save Jennifer, that she didn't have to die. And when he put it on, he went through the agonizing pain of transforming into the hulking beast you see before you. The mask grants Rick incredible strength, speed, durability, and even a healing factor. We'll get onto those in a short bit. But for the most part, Rick likes to use his brute strength to kill countless demonic-like creatures. They're not really demons. They're more or less experiments. Some are demons, some are experiments. But anyway, let's get on to his strength. Rick is strong enough to effortlessly bust through a floor of the mansion and tank the fall. Even though it's not that impressive, it's still something to note. Now, one of his more impressive strength feats is the fact that he can lift these giant iron gates, like they're weightless almost. This easily puts him at several tons, due to the weight of how much iron weighs and the fact that these are giant gates of solid iron as well. These aren't like no fence gates you see at a normal mansion. These are dungeon gates, and these things weigh a lot. The fact that he's able to throw them up that easily means that he's just that powerful. Rick also uses his brute strength for splatter kills, special kills that he can use on all enemies to rip them to pieces and do extremely gory attacks. On the basic enemies, he'll splatter their heads and rip out their guts through their neck cavities. Other ones, he'll rip an anus out of their, well, anus. Yeah, it gets really crazy later on in the game. But for the most part, his brute strength allows ripping apart these monsters to be little challenge and require very little effort. And it even gets even more powerful later when he unlocks his later abilities. But now I'm going to get on to another thing that the Terror Mask does that's quite impressive. The Terror Mask also grants Rick a healing factor that's easily capable of regrowing entire limbs in seconds, and repairing most damage to his body as well. However, to do this he must have blood. However, the blood does not have to be of him or an enemy. It can be all blood in general. So even if it's his blood, he can still use his own blood to help him regenerate. So as long as he's near blood, he'll be fine. And how do you get blood? Well, how do you think? You rip people limb from limb, and you come up with weapons. That's right, Rick has weaponry. Rick is easily able to use weapons to slice up enemies like it's no problem. The mask also grants Rick increased durability, as he has survived a fall that easily every human in the world would surely die from. Here, just watch. This whole fall goes on for an entire minute of him falling, plummeting down only to hit the ground and be completely fine. So yes, the mask definitely increases Rick's durability. But now, let's get on to Rick's ultimate form, the Berserker mode. In Berserker mode, Rick has access to all of the mask's unrestrained power, and can use all of the special attacks I will list off very soon. This lets him grow sword-like spikes out of his arms and back, which he can use to slice up enemies as if they were nothing more than wet paper mixed with hot butter. So yeah, this form easily allows him to kill many, and it also radically boosts his already insane speed, strength, and healing powers, as well as also increases durability. Now, time to get on to... Oh, but before I go on, I also have to mention, it's also implied that the mask is in control of Rick when he goes into this form, as you see the world through how the mask sees it. So, pretty interesting, and the mask himself is very deadly, since he was a slave for eons or even an eternity, since he's older than our time itself. And he's also an immortal soul, which makes up the mask. And when he escaped, he killed a corrupted, which is essentially a godlike being, pretty much, to us humans. So the mask was able to kill a godlike being on its own, and Rick's using all of that power. Well, maybe not all, but a large portion of it. Anyway, let's get on to the special attack Rick knows. The first attack is Splatter Siphon. This allows Rick to grow blood tendrils and shoots bone spikes out of his body. These penetrate and impale all enemies around Rick and is completely unavoidable. And when he does this, he heals back at most of his health. And it also does big damage to enemies as well. So if he wants to mix offense with healing, he'll use Splatter Siphon. The next attack Rick knows is Splatter Smash, where he'll smash the ground with a lot of force and grow massive shockwave spikes out of it, which can impale enemies, bash them, launch them, crush them, any way you can really think. He can do this in front of him, charge with it, slam it down on the ground, or even just do a 360 attack with it. This does massive damage like you would assume. And on for the piece de resistance. We have the Splatter Slash. This is Rick's signature attack while in Berserker mode, as he uses these spikes on his arms to grow to massive length to slice apart all enemies in his way. These can one-shot most enemies in the game, and is the primary attack for most enemies, as it kills most in a few hits and effortlessly slices things up, as nothing can really stop these blades. He can use it in a spinning motion, he can use it in a slashing motion forward, and even grow them even further. So yes, this attack is definitely Rick's strongest and mightiest, as you definitely don't want to be in the way of it. Here is a very short clip of Rick using his Berserker mode to hack through a few enemies. Yes, so the Berserker mode definitely boosts him a lot of offensive capabilities, as both arms now grow blades, which every attack now does slashing damage, and he also has spikes on his back, which also make for good defense as well. But it also radically boosts his already insane speed, strength, and durability, and even his healing factor. And his most insane strength feat of all with the Berserker mode is when he caught a meteor. I'm not kidding, he caught a meteor falling out of the sky with massive force, caught it, and then threw it. Here, just watch. That's right, he caught the meteor, and now he's gonna throw it. So yes, with the Berserker mode, his ability to heal from most injuries, even regrow limbs in seconds, and have all those different attacks at his disposal at any time he really wishes, Rick is a force of nature, which easily allows him to wipe out entire hordes of demonic creatures. And I do literally mean hordes, as in his adventures, Rick killed exactly 10,000 creatures. That's right, he killed 10,000 in order to get the mask to summon one of the corrupted, Now, did Rick kill the actual 10,000? Maybe, maybe not. I just know he killed a lot of creatures. And the sacrifice required 10,000, and the mask said that Rick was the executioner, so that implies that he was the one that killed the 10,000. And which summoned the corrupted, a being made up of the 10,000 corpses, which had the power of one of the corrupted. And remember, these things are a deity-like creature that are eternal. So Rick fought it while protecting his girl. And at the end of the fight, the thing tried to stomp on him, but Rick, using his massive power, stopped the stomp, pushed it back, and then ripped its heart out. Technically, saving the world. But his girlfriend was possessed, but he doesn't know it. It was sequel bait, just forget it. Oh, and one more thing to know about Rick, to know just how tough he is. When he was pulled into the mirror world to the silver side, he actually had to fight an exact clone of himself, several actually, that could use all of his special attacks. They could use his splatter slash, splatter smash, all of those attacks to fight him. Even could use the mask's super form to fight Rick at an unfair fight. And Rick still killed his clones. Then later in the story, he fought two of them using the abilities, and he still won. Rick fought people who were his equal and were more ferocious than him at using his abilities, and he still killed them to go save the day. Rick is an absolute beast.